Morning everyone, great to be back at this fantastic conference in Noosa. So presenting on Chalice Mining and the developments we're making with our nickel, copper and palladium project in WA. So Chalice Mining is a fantastic investment opportunity, and the reason there is we've got the best basically palladium deposit anywhere on the planet. It's located in WA and we've got a fantastically strong balance sheet, and we're on the way to developing that asset. And it's going to be a very profitable asset to mine and operate. So it's the largest resource of its kind in the world, 17 million ounces of contained PGMs, most of that palladium, 960,000 tonnes of nickel, 540,000 tonnes of copper and 96,000 tonnes of cobalt in an open pit deposit. So quite extraordinary in terms of scale. It's got a development pathway now. This time last year, we were scrambling to sort of redesign the processing pathway for this project. We've made some huge leaps forward in the last 12 months, really simplifying the flow sheet and adapting the project to a low commodity price environment, albeit at the moment for those watching PGMs, the price environment is certainly improving. Huge amount of upside as well in our portfolio across the West Yilgarn. So all that orange on the map there, that's all our projects. And we're very active exploring in the West Yilgarn for more deposits like Gonneville and others like Boddington, lots of gold and copper potential in that part of the world. Fantastic strong balance sheet, 83 million in cash and in listed investments, a stable institutional share register and a proven team. So we've got a dedicated invested team. Insiders own about 2.5% of the company. And all of that combined makes it a fantastic investment opportunity. You are buying effectively metal in the ground for $24 an ounce at the current prices, ignoring all the value of the base metals. And palladium's now trading in closer to $1,300 an ounce and on the way up, which is fantastic to see. So fantastically strong register. It's a Tim Goyder company, as many of those in this room will know. Tim's a fantastic entrepreneur and mine company creator. And on the right-hand side there, you can see in the last couple of months or the last 3 months, we've been one of the best performing stocks on the ASX in the mining space, up about 90% in that time to a market cap today of about 700 million, share price of about $1.90 a share. So why palladium? For those who don't know palladium, the spot price, whilst it has risen about 30% off the lows, it's still deep in the cost curve, so it's below the marginal cost of supply. The marginal supplier at the moment needs about $14.50 US to break even, and the price today, like I said, is about $1,300. So the price is going to continue to go up. We've seen 2 mines already curtailed on this part of the cycle, and it's a very, very unstable supply chain. So Russia and South Africa produce about 85% of the world's metal, and they're very aging, deep mining complexes, so very underinvested. We've seen a supply deficit in palladium for 10 out of their last 11 years. And really, I think what's most curious about palladium is that there's an expectation that the world is going to electrify transport and we're all going to be buying battery electric vehicles, and that's going to destroy demand for palladium. What we've actually seen is that there's a push now away from battery electric vehicles and back towards hybrid and ICE vehicles, and those obviously contain palladium in the catalytic converter. And so there's a catch-up happening at the moment where speculators have been sort of speculating that the story is over, and we think it is anywhere from over. If you have a look at the left-hand side there, the growth on battery electric vehicles has basically plateaued in the last 12, 18 months. So we're not seeing any of the demand destruction for palladium that was forecast. We're actually seeing slower BEV adoption. And we're seeing stricter emission standards being put on hybrids. So hybrids are this fantastic sort of interim transition technology. They also have higher palladium content in their catalytic converter as well, because they have to deal with stop-start conditions. So in simple terms here, hybrids have massively outperformed, and that's kept palladium demand very, very strong, and that's causing the market to be exceptionally tight at the moment. This is the last sort of 7 years of the palladium price in US dollars. As you can see, back in 2018, it was sort of around these levels, about $1,000 US an ounce. It then really went into a tight period when people started to pivot away from diesel engines, and we had the Dieselgate scandal with Volkswagen. We had COVID, we had the Ukraine invasion, obviously Russia producing almost half of the world's metal. It sent palladium up to extreme heights, over 3,000 US an ounce. and then we had a big dumping and a big destocking cycle. But what was encouraging, I guess, in the last 18 months, whilst that's been very tough for our shareholders, we have seen the price sort of bottom out at about $1,000 US an ounce. And you can see just in the last 3 months there, the price is starting to recover. So that's probably one of the most attractive looking price charts. If you follow sort of cyclical investments in commodities, I'd say strap in for a big amount of upside here with palladium going forward. And really, Chalice is the only way to play palladium to get an exposure of scale in a safe and reliable jurisdiction. So our share price up about 100%, like I said, since that start of the price rebound. It's outperformed the PGE producers there in the grey. It's also outperformed all the other developers. And we've already seen 2 mines being curtailed. And so really there's limited ways to play this. And so a position in Chalice gives you, I guess, the premier position, the premier sort of exposure to this price rebound, which is happening at the moment. So our project, we're in the middle of a PFS. We're about 3/4 of the way through that study. The project has a very unique revenue stream, like I said, mostly palladium, quite a lot of exposure to nickel and copper as well. Fantastic to see nickel turning a corner at the moment as well. It's a shallow, open pittable resource. We've purchased all the farmland where the resource lies, so we have all our infrastructure catered for in terms of being on our farmland, and we've simplified the flow sheet, and that's one of the major developments I'll talk to in a minute. And we can, having the high grade that those recall when we found this deposit early on about 5 years ago, we hit a substantial amount of high grade material, and having that near surface allows us to really deploy capital in a very efficient manner. We can start relatively small and then stage this project up over time, and that's why we think it will be one of the most competitive and the lowest cost producer of PGEs in the Western world, and honestly one of the few producers of PGEs in the Western world. So we've made an investment in this project of $225 million to date. So over that 5 years, we have been actively working up this project. We've drilled out the resource, we've acquired the farmland, we've got a COO in place who's here today. Actually, it'd be great for people to meet him, Dan Brearley. He joined us from Evolution. We've got really the execution team now in place in the company, and we've got the flow sheet bedded down. We've done so much metallurgical test work, about a $15 million investment to solve all those challenges we had in metallurgy for a couple of years there. And the infrastructure piece is really coming together as well. So we've got now our water and power solutions defined, our tailings storage concept is complete, and the cost estimates for PFS, like I said, are really in the finalisation stage now. Next year we'll move into offtake. Obviously we'll be making our major environmental approvals submissions as well, and then moving into financing and targeting an FID on this project in late 2027. So I appreciate it is still a little while away from making cash flow, but it is a very, very large mining development project, one of the largest development projects happening in Australia at the moment. So we are aiming for about a 10-year turnaround between discovery and first production, which is actually sort of one of the quicker turnarounds you'll see in the industry. So for those who were here last year listening to me, you probably saw we had to do, in our previous flow sheet, some unconventional processing on the nickel side of the flow sheet to get a saleable product. We've now stripped that out, and we've worked out through test work and this new configuration with flotation that we can produce simple copper and nickel concentrates using flotation only. And then we'll be producing an iron byproduct as well with magnetic separation, and then we'll produce additional palladium through leaching of the flotation tails on the right-hand side there. So we've basically got almost the same recoveries that we thought we needed, we had with the more complex flow sheet. We've got close to that with a very, very simple flow sheet, and a huge amount of the cost and the complexity has come out of this project by doing that. So we've got much lower CapEx and OpEx relative to the scoping study in 2023, and we've got the additional contribution from the iron byproduct, the magnetite, as well. And we've proven we can do this and use this flow sheet across the entirety of the grade profile. So as those who know the resource, there's quite a lot of high grade, but there's an extreme amount of low grade material. So this flow sheet is going to work across that full grade spectrum. So what are we up to till late 2027. As you can see there, PFS will be completed in November of this year. We're about halfway through all the permitting work in terms of modelling and getting our submissions ready to the regulators. Those submissions are going to happen in the middle of next year. And as you can see, we referred the project to regulators at the beginning of last year. So we're anticipating that around about the end of 2027, we'll be with our major approvals in hand. Concurrently to that, obviously, we'll do a feasibility study following this PFS. We'll be doing offtake negotiations as well, particularly on that nickel concentrate. That's a key product. The copper concentrate in the market is extremely tight at the moment, so we're not anticipating really much effort being required there, but on the nickel side, we will be negotiating hard with the nickel off-takers out there. And then we move into construction late 2027 and ahead of first production around about the end of the decade. And then, I guess for those who follow the company, obviously first time I came here to Noosa was prior to the Gonneville discovery. It was a completely different company back then. But I guess in our DNA, exploration remains key. So I guess the western part of the Yilgarn Craton remains our focus. It has been for the last 5 years since the Gonneville discovery. And what we like about that is it's not only hosting large-scale magmatic sulfide deposits like Gonneville, it hosts extraordinary gold deposits like Boddington, which have a little bit of copper in them as well. So the western side of WA is very, very poorly explored relative to the gold fields of WA or the Pilbara. And I guess this higher metamorphic sort of terrain in the western part of WA is now really a lot of the focus in the gold industry is coming to this side of WA. So we've been exploring there since 2021, and we've got over 40 targets that we need to go and stick a drill hole into. So we've got 3 lined up for the next few months at our Kings and Barra project, which I'll show you now. So the first, I guess the one that's probably got us most excited is called Hardtack. It's a 7-kilometre long gold in soil anomaly. It's a long strike from some historical gold workings at the end of the 19th century. So it gives us a lot of encouragement that there's some gold here in this major structure, and there's a kink in this major structure as it sort of trends from the south up to the northwest. We actually drilled some holes into it aiming for nickel plates, and we hit gold, which is a nice surprise, often in exploration. So we've got already a metre at 6.6 into some sort of randomly positioned diamond holes. There's now a systematic program of air core to do to really refine in on where is the gold here in the bedrock that's causing this anomaly. So an exciting one to watch in the coming months. And then up a bit further north, the Barra project. This is about 3,500 square kilometres. So this is sort of part of the goldfields that's been forgotten about. This is all mapped as granite gneissic terrain 5 years ago before the Gonneville discovery. And really now, since we've gone in there and actually done some exploration, we've found these huge swathes of greenstones. So this is really virgin terrain, undrilled, essentially part of the goldfields. It's just on the western side of WA. So we've got a very comparable setting here to Boddington. There was less than 500 basically drill holes in that entire 3,500 square kilometres, which is quite unbelievable when you think about how well explored WA is. We've already got an intersection there, 8 metres at 1.2 from 20 metres down at the Warspite target in the southeast there. And we've got that Recherche West trend sort of going through the middle of the page there, which is 15 kilometres long, and it's just this real standout gold anomaly striking over a huge strike length. So there's a hell of a lot of drilling there to do to open up what we hope is a series of gold deposits through this area. So a very exciting but early stage project here. Another, I guess, string to our bow in Chalice as to, and we continue, like I said, to have a strong geological team, and we continue to spend in the order of $5 to $10 million a year on this type of exploration, and it's quite frontier stuff. So we do think that's where the big discoveries do typically come from, is away from sort of existing areas or known areas. So that remains our focus. And obviously in the early stages, it's a little harder to conceptualise, but we think that's a fantastic place to explore. So I'd encourage you to keep an eye on the palladium price. Obviously, Chalice's share price is very much intrinsically linked to that, and it's trending very, very nicely for us at the moment. The PFS underway, our approvals are well and truly underway, and obviously a huge amount of upside in the West Yilgarn for us to exploit. So a fantastic time to invest in Chalice, and please come and have a chat to us in the booth if you'd like to hear more.